Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to tonight's online event. This event is going to revolve around our FIFO and Shift workers. We're going to be discussing the benefits of including some more whole, real food nutrients through the duration of FIFO shifts and those long, grueling days and nights and on shift. So we'll be hearing some brilliant stories from some men and women who are doing just that and how they're doing it. So shift workers, they usually work for extended hours for lengthy periods at a time. My husband and I ourselves have been living a FIFO lifestyle for over 5 years now from our own experience, and you'll hear his story very soon. We have become very aware of the lack of proper nutrition on these sites particularly. FIFO workers have increasingly higher incidence of depression and sadly suicide. A WA study has now found this to be commonplace with fly-in and fly-out workers, where they're suffering from depression at a higher rate than the Australian population. So why is this? Mental health. Our guts contain over 80% of our serotonin, which is the happy hormone. So it's very important to keep on top of what we're putting in our bodies, what these workers are putting in their bodies, as well as looking at minds and looking after their souls. It contributes to our overall health, not just mental health, but maintaining their energy, supporting the immune system, and so much more as well. So we're going to kick it off here. I'm Natty, and I'm a mum of 3. I'm a wellness consultant, and I run my lifestyle business from home. I want to introduce you to some incredible but very simple products that myself really have been for over 3 years now. So I was introduced to Juice Plus when I was around 27 weeks pregnant with my 3rd baby. My husband had been FIFO for a couple of years at that point, and by then I was already taking another pregnancy multivitamin. However, I was really excited to learn about more about Juice Plus, and I love the fact that they weren't synthetic and they were whole food based. So I got really excited about the opportunity to share them with my husband as well, who I knew wasn't eating optimally while he was away at work, even though he would tell me he was. I knew he wasn't. So my beautiful friend Dee, she was my prenatal yoga teacher at the time. She gave me some information regarding fruits and veg and berry capsules, and we had a quick chat about them, and I was really eager to find something that was going to help me maintain my nutrition and my energy health while I was pregnant and while my husband was working away, and I was a mum to time as well. I guess I was just nervous that I might hit a wall and end up running on empty, especially when Nick went back on shift and I was on my own again, chasing after little people. So I just wanted to make sure that I had the time to look after myself as well, and something that was going to help me. Needless to say, since starting the products, I haven't really hit a wall, along with my best attempt to eat well, eat a balanced diet, drink enough water. I think I've managed to successfully enjoy pretty good health and energy and get through most of the days without needing that power nap. So what is Juice Plus? If you haven't heard of it yet, we have 4 products now here in total in Australia in the form of food capsules. We now have a brand new plant-based supplement. We have chewables and some whole food shakes. Now capsules are these little guys here. They come in these little containers, and we have 3 versions here. We have our fruits, our vegetables, and the berry blends. And they all come in little vegan capsules. The produce comes from 3rd and 4th generation farms, and they only use LM seeds. And they contain a variety of nutrients from over 30 whole foods, so 30 different fruits, vegetables, and grains. These foods are being vine ripened, picked, and they're pulped, dehydrated, very low temperatures, and they're encapsulated in such a way that they maintain the living enzymes, and they stay that way until you put them in your body. So they're fully bioavailable, which means the nutrients are recognized by our bodies, and they're in our bloodstream within less than 5 minutes. So this isn't the case with most of your commercial brand synthetic multis and your isolated vitamins and minerals. We also have a chewable version, which I don't have to hand just now to show you because they are literally all gone, and I think we just finished them yesterday because myself and Nick eat them along with the kids because we can't resist. They're really yummy, and they're just a variety of 17 fruits and veggies, and they come in a little gummy form, completely vegan friendly as well. And they're a great way for our children to bridge the gap between what they eat and what they actually should be eating. Our studies have shown that the children who are on our children's health study, we're noticing that their palates are shifting and they're actually craving more fruits and vegetables and enjoying eating the whole fruits and veggies in their whole forms as well. So it's kind of a win-win with them. Another incredible thing about the company is that with every eligible adult order or supply of the fruits and veggies, or the fruits, veg and berries, a child can actually receive theirs for free for up to 4 years if they're in between the age of 4 and 18. So that's pretty incredible. And we have over 1 million children on that study across the world just now. So the results are absolutely outstanding. We've also, like I mentioned, got our brand new, first of its kind in Australia. We have our Omega blend, and these are our essential fatty acids. So they're not produced in our bodies, so we need to get them from food, and many people are supplementing these days, but they're supplementing with fish oil, and more people are actually moving away from the fish oil sources now, and we're seeing more benefits from plant-based versions. They're cutting out the middle fish, as we like to say, and we are getting better results, and this is a more sustainable, and it's also a vegan friendly way of obtaining these nutrients too. Our omegas are sourced from things like algae, raspberry seeds, pomegranate seeds, safflower, and more, and they contain the ever important DHA and EPA as well, so it makes it a bit of a revolutionary product over here, and it's so exciting. We can't wait to see some amazing results from these guys as well. So these are known as our micronutrients, that's our vitamins and minerals, and they're consumed in relatively small quantities, but they're very essential for our bodies to function properly. And the last product that we have here are these guys. Now, these are our whole food powders. They're vegan friendly as well, and they're fully plant-based. We've got a Dutch chocolate and vanilla flavour. They're really, really yummy, and we can turn them into delicious shakes and smoothies. They're known as our macronutrients. So they include things like our proteins, carbs, and good fats. So they're great, especially if you're working away from home, on site, away from the office throughout the day. They can be turned into, some food replacements. So they're great if you skip meals, if you need an afternoon pick-me-up, or you find that you just can't eat as much as you require. So that's pretty much it for the product side. We're going to hear from some wonderful people who are going to share their Juice Plus story and how it's impacted their time away and how it's helped them while they work ever so hard. So I'm going to pass over to my lovely husband, Nick. I'm just going to turn the screen around because he's sitting right next to me. And he's going to share his story. So over to you, Nicky.
G'day everybody, thanks for having me. I'm just going to imagine that you're all naked to help me get over my nerves. Did I just hear Nat accuse me of not eating the right thing when I was away? I've been FIFO for probably about 5 years now, just over. I can tell you that the minute I got that job, they were feeding me. I mean, cupcakes, danishes, because you do approximately 2 weeks training before you go onto site. So it's all the wrong foods. Once you're in a camp, you are very much restricted. I generally like to eat as healthy as I can at home, or organic where possible. You don't really have that choice when you're staying in a camp. You have what's provided, and that's about it. I want to dispel some myths about FIFO working. It's not always as good as it sounds. Personally, it took me 2 years to equal what I was already earning on the coast as an electrician. I had big ideas before coming into the industry, and it just took a little while and a lot of hard work to get there. At this stage, it's a lot better than what it used to be, but it's come at a big sacrifice, I feel. I do have a history of a little bit of depression, which I've managed to treat myself through nutrition. I have tried the conventional route, but I never had any luck with that, and I feel much more comfortable to get my medicine from food, and that's where Juice Plus comes in. I've also tried and exchange some bad habits. I try and skip my afternoon coffee, and I have a shake instead. I get a bit of an energy boost, and I know I'm doing the right thing for my body. What else? More and more increasingly, I do a lot of reading at work about health because it does really interest me. It's my passion. I read more and more about evidence suggesting that your physical health is closely tied to your mental health. So I'm absolutely a believer in that. What else? Weight. I know I've never had a problem with my weight, but I know that when I used to go on shift, I would put on 4 or 5 kilograms. Which is totally uncharacteristic of myself. And then as soon as I came home, it'd start dropping away. So I started to get into a bit of a bad pattern, and I really had to take control. Anyway, I hope I've given you some information. I kind of feel a bit like I'm going all over the place, but thanks for listening. Cheers.
Thank you. So that was that's Nick's little story about his FIFO experience. I'm going to pass over to Reese now, who's going to share his story for the very first time. So I'm really excited to hear what you've got to say, Reese. So just go when you're ready.
Sure. I hope you can all hear me. Thanks for having me. So for FIFO life, I'm a geologist by trade, so I've worked in some fairly remote parts of Australia. I've worked up in Arnhem Land, northwest Queensland on mine sites, on remote, small, tented sites. And I agree with what Nick said, and the food choices that you've got when you are in those situations is extremely limited. Sort of similar situation to Nick in that my food choices at home are fantastic. I'm supported by my amazing wife, who's always makes sure I eat very, very well. And when you're FIFO and you're in camp, it's very, very difficult. You can still make those choices, but the ingredients that they use are often not organic, or there's often sugar laden. And one thing, again, I'll hark back to what Nick said, it sort of sprung to mind, was that he put on a bit of weight, and I think possibly on these mine sites, because there's quite a lot of sugar-rich foods, that actually acts as a kind of cause of overeating. I found that when I was on particular mine sites, I would eat to excess. I never had really an issue with weight or anything, but I would just effectively gorge myself to a point where it'd just be like, oh, I'm so full I can't move, and then you just go and sleep. I've been on Juice Plus now for 6 months, and one thing I have noticed is that I'm on the capsules. I take the capsules, the fruit, the veg, and the berry capsules, and I've also started on the completes as well in the afternoon, same as Nick. Great afternoon pick me up. The thing I seem to notice more now, I think, is there's like, it acts as a sort of an appetite suppressant to some extent, in that I don't find myself overeating, and I put that down to possibly being the fact that my body's actually getting the nutrients it needs, so it's not like just needing more. It's quite happy with the nutrients it's getting, which is I'm suspecting from Juice Plus there seems to be a correlation there, so I'm very happy with that. The other time it comes in very useful is, as well as being on camps, I've been traveling a fair bit, and no one likes aircraft food, so tend to steer clear of that. And some places you just don't have access to fresh fruit and vegetables. There's roadhouses. I've worked up in Arnhem Land. All you've got access to is fried foods and pies, and that you just, without some very good organisation, you're just not being exposed to good quality food. So unfortunately, when I was in Arnhem Land, I hadn't been exposed to the joys of Juice Plus. I wish I had. And yeah, the last 6 months has been much improved. I think my overall health is much better. It's better in myself, a bit less fatigued. There are long hours we do. They're erratic hours sometimes. I was up at this morning, for example, 4 a.m. and on a plane, first light. So it's been a long day. But yeah, I certainly would recommend it to anyone else who's well, not, you don't have to be FIFO. I think just generally it's been a very beneficial addition to my life and the whole family. So yeah, I'm not sure if that gives anyone any enlightenment, but that's my story in a nutshell.
No, that's brilliant, Reese. Thank you so much. It was really, really good to hear how you're going with it and that you're enjoying it. And I do think it's wonderful. I think it's a brilliant addition for any FIFO and shift workers, especially just because I do know from experience what you guys and girls are supplied with there. And, I think that it is definitely something that, all of the workers need to hear about. So that was great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to pass over to Rebecca now, and she's going to share her story and a little bit more about what we do as wellness consultants as well. So over to you, Beck.
Thank you. So I'll just tell you very quickly a little bit about my story. I have worked in casinos for pretty much 20 years now. I liked the fun aspect of it. And when I had my little boy, who is just about 5, I went back to work part-time, and being in the industry for such a long time, a promotion came up, and it was the first level promotion that I had ever got, and they insisted that I went back to work full-time in order to take the promotion. So I'd been doing the same job for 15 years without a promotion, so I felt that I definitely needed, I was in deserve of promotion, so I took it. My little boy got diagnosed with ASD not long after I went back to work full time, and although that the diagnosis itself didn't really change things, it did take its toll on me. He has always been a ball of energy and requires extra attention. And I just found that I was getting up at 1:45 every morning to go to work. I knew that I couldn't manage 5 days straight, so I'd have split days off. So even on the days that I was off, I never really got to recoup very much because it was just one day. So I get up at 1:45 in the morning. My husband would take my son to school. I would then finish work, drive about 85 kilometres to pick him up from school. He was only doing 4 or 5 hours at school. And then I'd spend probably about 7 or 8 hours entertaining him before I could get him to sleep at night. His little brain just never switches off. So he never stopped. He wouldn't sleep. He was off naps from about 12 months on. So yeah, 8:30, 9 o'clock was pretty much average time that I'd be able to get him to bed every night, and then I would crash out. As I said, I was doing this 5 days a week and not doing very well at it. I have always suffered with depression. I got diagnosed at 18 years old, got medicated at 18, and at this point, I probably managed for about 3 months before I started spiraling and just knew that I really wasn't coping with the lifestyle that I was living. And that's when somebody offered me the products. And I partly thought, oh, well, what if it helps? But I also, the other thing that got me in was the free kids product. My son, being on the spectrum, had a lot of sensory needs. He ate absolutely no vegetables whatsoever. He probably ate 2 fruits, and I knew he ate no meat at all as well. I knew that he definitely wasn't hitting any form of nutritional value with the food that he was eating, but no doctor seemed to be bothered because he was hitting his milestones. So yeah, I kind of thought, oh, well, what if this can help? With him, I think it was probably about 3 weeks in, he picked up a piece of broccoli off my plate, and I was like, okay, this is a massive thing. He's actually touched some form of vegetable here. I asked him if he wanted it, and he said no, and I was like, no, but hey, he's touched it. That's pretty cool. And then the next minute, he's just gone and ate it, and then picked up another piece. So I was blown away. A couple of days later, we were in the supermarket. He actually picked up a whole head of broccoli and started chowing down in the supermarket. So when I spoke to some other people, they were like, well, you know, one of the things that can happen is their palates change. And he's just obviously for the first time ever actually receiving all these nutrients of all these fruits and veg, and he's feeling good, and he's actually wanting to eat more. So we've been on the product, I think it's about 17 months now. And I'm not going to say he eats everything, but pretty much. I can at least get him to try anything. He's a little boy who loves information, so he's also very keen to know. He knows all the products that are in Juice Plus, and if something's in Juice Plus, he'll definitely try it because of that. So I'm really quite lucky because of that. But it's massively changed his taste buds. We obviously used to eat a bit of sugar in the house, and he will easily say no to it now and take a healthy option instead. So that's great for him. But as for me, because I was awake kind of 18, 19 hours a day, I definitely reached for the sugary foods. I would drink Red Bull and guarana tablets and Baroccas and all of that, lots and lots of caffeine, purely just to stay awake. Like, so I was driving 85 kilometers just to pick him up from school, but in my daily total, I was probably driving about 140 k's a day. Yeah, the lifestyle just wasn't doing very well. So I'd, like I said, been picking up the sugary foods, and I put on probably about 15 kilos just because I was eating to stay awake. And then when it come to sleep time, so sometimes I wouldn't be able to sleep, and if I did sleep, I'd sleep for an hour or so and then wake up. It's just obviously I couldn't get into a decent sleep. So occasionally I was having to take sleeping tablets as well. Yeah, not doing very many favors to my body. So I'd obviously picked up lots of, my depression was back. I had IBS problems. I'd obviously put on weight as well. And then, yeah, there's a couple other things as well. But so within a couple of weeks of having the capsules, my energy was through the roof. My IBS had kind of gone away. I started losing weight. I was on the shakes as well, just having a shake instead of reaching for that sugary food. My palate had changed, and I actually can't drink soft drink anymore. I find it really, really sweet. But yeah, I definitely don't reach for the sweet foods like I used to. So that's a little bit about my product story. And as I said before, my son's completely changed his palate. But business-wise, I never thought that I could do this business. But I obviously was in love with the products, both for me and my son, and my husband was on them as well, and he was having good results too. And so I naturally started sharing, just telling people about, you know, people noticed that I was different and I was happier, and there was a change in my son's behavior as well. So I just naturally started talking about it. And then people wanted to buy. So it was a case of, you know, just referring people on. And I just started thinking, well, what if I just jumped in and started doing it myself? I wasn't happy with the lifestyle I was living, working 5 days a week, those crazy hours. And within a couple of months, I managed to go back to part-time, and that's kind of my story. So, Nat, if you're still there, did you want me to cover anything else?
No, that's brilliant, Beck. Thank you so much for sharing your story as well. That was amazing.
No problem.
And I think, like you were saying, like Beck was saying, Juice Plus does come with a business as well, and the beauty of it is it's a community of people who all have the same intention, and that's just to share something that we have found that works not only for us but the people that we are naturally sharing it with, and we're hearing all these amazing stories. And it's as simple as, you know, us taking it, we talk about it, and we share it with other people. So it's something that if you ever feel that, you know, you're automatically sharing it anyway, you're already taking the products, then speak to the person who introduced you to Juice Plus or who invited you onto this call tonight. And if you want to know any more about what we get to do and how we get to inspire other people to live the healthiest life that they possibly can, then please just reach out. And it's been really lovely to share with you all tonight, and to have you hop on this call. And I really hope that you've got some good information, and I'm just really glad that we got to share with you. So thank you again for hopping on, and I hope you have a beautiful night, and we will end it there.